Welcome back to Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik, and we got to talk about this upcoming season, like we've always been. But before we jump into that, I do want to let y'all know I have been reading the comments. I'm trying. Trust me, I am trying. I need y'all to understand that it's a lot that goes into this, and a lot that's out of my control. So bear with me. I'm trying to make this a better viewing experience for you all, so that way you guys can keep coming back and keep watching. Because I really do appreciate all of you that do watch this. So I appreciate all the comments, all the suggestions, anything that you guys leave. Just want to throw that out there. I am trying, and y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm trying. So, uh, right now, we just want to talk about, the system that we can expect to see from Thomas Isolo, just based off of the sample size that we got from the 9 games plus the 4 games plus the play in the playoffs. So, something that I um, noticed that Isolo really touched on more than anything, and this could be just because of the Desmond Bain effect. The Grizzlies took a pretty big jump when it came to 3-point attempts. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying that this is exactly how a system is going to look. We have to remember this was 9 games before the postseason, so we have to remember that part. So the percentages, the numbers, all this and that, it's all off a 9 game sample. So we can't even really go off of it, but it's just to give us an idea of what we can expect to see. Now, something that I think we can see is we can expect a similar up tempo offense, but I think we can also expect more of the fast break offense to run through John Morant. Now that Desmond Bain isn't on the team, because one thing about it, Desmond Bain did run the fast break sometimes. I mean, you guys heard it, downhill Des, but there was a problem where Desmond Bain kind of lost it a bit because of turnovers. And that's just a simple fact. It was turnovers. Now, one thing that I do hope that I hope to see um, Islo really improve on is making sure the ball touches everybody's hands and the assist numbers go up. The Grizzlies did not really do that well in assist. Um, with Isolo, I should say with Isolo. With Taylor Jenkins, the assist numbers were pretty decent. So you have to keep that in mind. Pace was about the same. The assist to turnover ratio. That is something that's really gonna have to change because, as we know, the turnovers were the essential downfall of the Grizzlies. So really have to improve on that because that was something that honestly it made it hard to watch the Grizzlies. That's just that simple. It made it hard to watch. And if they don't fix that, then there's no chance that the Grizzlies are gonna work out and be a threat and playoff team, as we saw. There were multiple times where turnovers literally costed the Grizzlies their season. So turnovers, keeping the pace, upping the amount of assists, and I think also just pulling back up the numbers right here. Um, Something else that I think that needs to be touched on in Izolo's system. I'm not big on the defensive stats. You get them how you get them. Honestly, I rather, the field goal percentage to me is the biggest stat than anything when it comes to defense. Um, yeah, I think it's more so just really keeping the turnovers down, and not necessarily feeling the need to rely on the 3-point shot, because we did see that sometimes with Taylor Jenkins where the Grizzlies, if they couldn't find a shot, they were just chucking up threes, and that was something that I absolutely could not stand, and like I said, it made it hard to watch. So as long as they're able to find their shot in this system, I'm all for it. But like I said, we gotta give it time. We just have to give it time. But somebody else now with Desmond Bain off to Orlando, I think we are poised to see a, not gonna say breakout year. I'm not gonna say breakout year because it's not really the term that I want to use. But I think we can expect a very, very good year from Jaylen Wells. I think we can absolutely expect him to well, I'm not gonna say absolutely expect, but I think Jaylen Wells makes a great case to make a all defensive team. I mean, well, let's just be honest. I think he makes a great case to be an all defensive type player. He doesn't have the stats that just stand out completely, but he does. If you actually watch the games, you know that he's one of the better defenders in the league already, especially at the wing position. And he's done a great job guarding some of the guys that we look at as some of the toughest players to guard in the league. Just that simple. And this is just, this is a guy that not only has the ability to contain them, but also the ability to just, change up the entire game plan. Because I've seen that happen. Jaylen Wells will make you change your entire game plan by guarding your team's best player. And I think we could definitely expect Jaylen Wells to do that again. So defensively, I think he takes an even bigger leap. He's also put on some size. We've seen him kind of touch up his handles a bit. Obviously, the shot in Summer League, I got to be honest, I told y'all multiple times, I was not worried about his shot in Summer League. In Summer League, you're going to experiment more. He's going to have a lot more shot attempts that he probably wouldn't have in a regular season game on the main roster. So I wasn't really too worried about that. I mean, obviously, there were little concerns, but nothing that really just made me think like, oh, he's going to take a step back. No, I don't think he's going to take a step back. If anything, he's in an increased role. So he really can go up from here. So I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Offensively though, we'll love to see Jaylen Wells kind of, I don't really know his game all the way. Obviously, we saw Jaylen Wells, more so in the catch and shoot role. But I wouldn't mind seeing Jaylen Wells be a little bit off the dribble. I wouldn't mind seeing it, just see how it works, and just see how comfortable he is with that. If that's not his game, don't have him do it. Don't force him to do it. That's something that he can develop on another time. But I think going into this season, just try to figure out what he is comfortable doing and what he may be uncomfortable doing, and see if that's something that we could see him potentially work on going forward. So Jaylen Wells, I'm ready to see what he can bring. I know he's ready to hit the court ever since that injury, and we're all happy to see Jaylen Wells back healthy and able to take the court for the Grizzlies. So can't wait for training camp, and I can't wait for the regular season to start so we can see that. Now, something that we looking ahead to next year, looking ahead to next season, not this upcoming season, but the 2026-2027 season. So went ahead and took a look at some of the free agents that we can expect to see going into next season, that I think the Grizzlies, if they wanted to be buyers, and I'm saying this strictly off the fact if they want to be buyers. So let's just throw that out there. If they want to be buyers, I'm not saying the Grizzlies are gonna absolutely go after these people. So before we get into anything, um, as far as like free agents for the Grizzlies, you have, I believe, three team options. You got Zach Edey, Vince Williams. Yeah, Vince Williams and Gigi Jack. I'm sorry, the thing I'm looking at, it had Vince Williams twice, so I was a little confused. But I don't even think that applies to. Yeah, Vince Williams is, I don't think he's on the team deal, but I can't quite remember right now. But Gigi Jackson is. So you have that. Then you have Jock Landale, who signed a short deal. So gotta remember that part. And then you got Kentavious Caldwell Pope, who's also on a deal like that. So definitely have to consider that. So that's just a consideration for the Grizzlies when it comes to free agency. Now, when it comes to every other team and what the Grizzlies, if they were to buy, these are just players that I think would fit well for the Grizzlies. Not saying they're going to target them, but just they could fit well on the team. So one of the people that I'd love to see the Grizzlies go. These are just some of the centers. We'll go to center position in case there's a world where Jock Landale is on the team and the Grizzlies just decide they want to go another route. So if I wanted to be honest, there are a few players that kind of stick out for me that I think would make a pretty good spot on the team. So one of those being Yusuf Nurkic, which I think in hindsight you could definitely try to figure out a way for have Nurkic on the team. Now, the only thing that really scares me of Nurkic is a little bit on the defensive. He has taken a big step back, so that's something that really does worry me about him. If there's a world where the Blazers, for some reason, decide not to keep Donovan Clingan, go after him. Just being honest, go after him. I mean, I say this because there were reports that the Blazers were willing to shop him. So definitely just have to keep that in mind. You never know with the way the league works now. Um, that and as far as the center position, going down the list, um, I see Walker Kessler, but he's a restricted free agent, so there's no telling how that's going to work. But I think if he's available, try to go after him again. Why not? I mean, Walker Kessler, he was drafted by the Grizzlies pick when he came in, so it'd be a little poetic. But as far as centers, it's not really too many names that just stand out. And I'm speaking from a realistic standpoint, just don't really see anything that just makes me think that the Grizzlies absolutely need to go after it. Um, and as far as wing positions go, you got John Collins, which I think would be good, but I think the asking price for him would be a little too much that the Grizzlies probably wouldn't want. You got PJ Washington. You got some names that just kind of stick out. Like a Rui Hachimura. If the Grizzlies even want to consider that, I don't know. I really don't. If I'm being honest. I mean, there's a lot of names that going into next year are going to make some noise. That I wouldn't be surprised the Grizzlies would be linked to these guys. Just being honest, I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, as far as the wing position, I think if you feel like Vince Williams or GG is in the right spot, you want him to go after it. You want him to go after it for real. As far as guards, I mean, there's a great list of guards, but let's be real, the Grizzlies are pretty set in the guard position. There's no need for that at all. Just being honest. There's no need for that at all. So that's just a little bit of free agency, just to give y'all an idea. Like I said, none of these people are linked to the Grizzlies. This is not me saying these are. I know I said the Grizzlies could go after these people, but they don't need to go after these people. These are just hypothetical names that we can expect to see come time free agency next year. And this is obviously without the idea that people are going to re-sign their contracts during the season. So before we get out of here, did just want to talk. We talk a lot about what could go right for the Grizzlies. We never talk about what could go wrong. And one of those things is being what happens going forward if the Ja Morant, not Desmond, but the Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. Experiment doesn't work. Now, I'm saying this because, like I said, we never really talk about this, or at least I haven't. I've seen it, but I haven't really talked about it. The reason I talk about it now is because a lot of people are going over the next year and the year after that. There's going to be a lot of people that bring up this question, and the way I feel about it, I think if there's a world where the Grizzlies just can't get past the second round, I think you do move one or the other. Now, this is me saying with this, I think the Grizzlies are probably more willing to move Jaren before Ja because Jaren does have a large contract. And I think if it comes down to it, I think Jaren kind of gets the brunt of the blame, if that makes sense. I just don't see a world where the Grizzlies, have to make a decision and they move on from Ja unless Ja is just at a point where he is hindering the team more than helping. And I mean, and that could come in many ways, like being there for the team, suiting up, but then also, just not being there, not being there consistently. So I can see that being an issue, but I think at the end of the day, if we had to make a decision between the two, Jaren would probably go more than anything. But I think before you even decide that, I'd say give it 3 years. Give it 3 years. Jaren did sign a 5-year deal. Give it 3 years. around that time before you rethink talks of re-signing, see what position you're in, see what the Grizzlies are at the moment, and if they feel like they have it figured out to the point where it's worth not making a trade or deal or anything like that, then go for it. But if there's a point where the Grizzlies aren't making any type of progress, then we really do need to have this conversation on what is the next move. And I think that's something that, a lot of people, you're not going to think about it right now, but genuinely we have to consider it. I mean, the Grizzlies are in the best position. The Grizzlies are in the best position they've been in since what 2014, 2013, whatever year we made the West Conference Finals. I can't think off the top of my head, but just this is the best position they've been in. And one thing about the Grizzlies that I hate, I know I'm rambling a bit, but one thing about the Grizzlies that I absolutely hate for them to do is not build on the current success. I mean, even then, going back to 2013, 2014, the Grizzlies, surprised everybody, make the West Conference Finals. They didn't build on it after that. They just stuck with the same core, didn't make any additions that just changed the team, and they haven't reached that point since. So I think the Grizzlies need to really, they need to really learn off of the past and not, make the same mistake, because it's taken us nearly a decade to get back to this point where we have national attention and we have the national poise of getting people's attention and putting the league on notice. So don't make the same mistake. That's just as simple as that. Don't make the same mistake. But like I said, 3 years, then we can have this discussion. But as far as it goes, I think the system works as long as the team is able to build around it and actually be aggressive and showing that they want the players to be successful in the system or the team. And later on, we can talk about it leading to a championship. So that's my thoughts on that. That's all I got for today right now. Like I said, just one day closer to the start of the season, and I can't wait to start it with you all and talk about the games, all of that. Can't wait for it. But if you like this edition of Grizzlies Daily, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And like I said to y'all, I'm reading the comments. I hear y'all. I'm trying. I really am. It's some things out of my control, but best believe I am trying to make it a better viewing experience for you all. So don't even worry about it. Don't sweat it. I got y'all, and I'll let y'all know what we can do. But that's this edition of Grizzlies Daily. And my name is Malik, and I'll see y'all in the next one.